Finding a good MMO is like finding a girlfriend. So many of them look incredible on the surface, but wait, what am I even saying? You guys don't care about physical relationships with real women, right? That's what anime waifus are for. Now, mobile MMOs are a dime a dozen. There are so many that navigating between them has become a chore, especially given how empty, barren, and shallow the vast majority of them feel. Yet after having played through quite a bit of Genshin Impact, Punishing Grey Raven, Arknights and Azur Lane recently, I found myself on the lookout for a good mobile MMO. And after hours of searching, I decided that I wanted to go ahead here and compile a list of 15 different mobile MMOs that I feel are far above the rest of their competition. These are MMOs specifically for mobile or even cross-platform that I enjoyed, that I would genuinely recommend. Quick shout out to my patrons over on Patreon once again, since this channel is not monetized and probably won't really have much opportunity to be. Every single patron counts. Now let's go ahead and start this off with Blade and Soul 2. Blade and Soul 2 is the highly anticipated sequel to Blade and Soul, a high-quality action MMORPG developed for PC. Interestingly enough, it is also available fully cross-platform. While the sequel showcases a much more tame combat system, significantly less explicit character models, and an entirely overhauled graphical style, disregarding its ties to its predecessor, I'd say it is probably one of the better mobile MMOs that I have played on the platform. This game looks gorgeous, it has some solid gameplay and narrative worth following, a large world to explore, and plenty of content to partake of. It is set within the same Blade and Soul world and features a lot of similarities to Blade and Soul, for better or for worse. Gran Saga is an MMO that released just last year and has since gone on to become one of the most stunning anime titles on both mobile and PC platforms, being full cross-platform compatible itself. Unlike traditional MMOs, Gran Saga allows players to not only build their own character, but to also recruit a variety of other characters, meaning that it features a gacha system requiring players to earn or to buy characters to use in-game. The game features an enormous open world for you to run around freely exploring. It has some pretty fluid combat. I mean, you can literally just look at it and see how smooth it feels. It has a story to follow, but it is admittedly your pretty basic traditional narrative. My only gripe with the game is that it isn't available in English yet, but it should be releasing globally, hopefully this year. Rangers of Oblivion is a gorgeous Monster Hunter-esque MMO, as in, it looks and feels like a Monster Hunter game, but on mobile, and with better looking character models. It's also simultaneously one of the best mobile MMOs that I have ever played. Sure, it doesn't offer the same levels of freedom that other games do with regards to exploring a large open world, but it offers better action combat than them. Maybe not on par with something like Punishing Grey Raven or Honkai Impact 3rd, but when do MMOs ever have as good combat as non-MMOs? With an extensive character creator, gorgeous graphical style, and a surplus of areas to explore, this game right here is a must-play MMO. Tower Fantasy is both the largest success and most horrendous failure of the last year in terms of an MMO. This game is by far the best looking anime MMO on mobile platforms. It's also fully cross-platform compatible with a fully PC compatible UI, something that most games just do not take the time to do. But it has been overrun with bugs, glitches, legal trouble concerning asset theft for their trailers. Oh boy, yet underneath all of that, this is simultaneously one of the best mobile MMOs that you will encounter. It's absolutely gorgeous. It has full action combat without any autoplay at all, a fully utilized world and narrative, plenty of things to do. This right here is what a cross-platform MMO should be. And the depth of the character creation and customization, man, yes, please. Now to wait for this game to launch globally later this year. So I feel like several of the MMOs that have been listed here are cross-platform compatible between PC and mobile, and I honestly did not even mean to do that. Odin Valhalla Rising is a gorgeous medieval MMO that was considered to be a true competitor to Black Desert Online. While it failed to live up to the quality of Black Desert Online, it did end up being a ridiculously successful MMO in its own right, becoming one of South Korea's highest selling MMOs on mobile devices. Featuring gorgeous graphics, stunning environments, incredible quality character designs, an enormous world, and decent quality combat, it's no doubt that this went on to make over $100 million within its first month. It is also scheduled to be releasing in 2022, so this year globally. So it is an MMO to be on the lookout for. Black Desert Mobile is Black Desert Online, but on mobile, much as the title would lead you to believe. When this game came out, many people marveled at how incredible it both looked and played. Sure, it felt about as much like Black Desert Online as Blade and Soul 2 felt like Blade and Soul, but it still had the feel, the classes, the combat, the graphical style of its predecessor. And for those of you that are unaware, BDO is one of the best looking, best playing MMOs on PC still, 6 years after it released. Black Desert Mobile is absolutely gorgeous. It plays incredibly well, and it's a worthy port of the original PC incarnation of Black Desert that is sure to interest you if you are a fan. So I actually played Toram Online recently over on PC. Yes, it just launched onto PC recently and is now a fully functional cross-platform MMORPG. And you know what? It's honestly one of the better ones out there. It utilizes unique combat that's a hybrid between tab target, turn-based, and action. It captures that unique aesthetic that Asubimo has become known for and provides an MMO that looks better than most of its PC counterparts. This is a JRPG that you play with other players. It's as much a JRPG as it is an MMO, and that really helps it stand out. Where other games feel like you're running around without any real purpose, Toram truly feels like there's a reason that you're in the world you're in and playing the way you are. And now that you can play it completely cross-platform, all the more reason to try it out. As a huge fan of Perfect World International, I was ecstatic to get into and play Perfect World Mobile. It wasn't just a cheap port of the game over onto mobile devices, rather, it was an upgrade. It looked better than Perfect World. It played better than Perfect World. Yes, this world was significantly smaller, the flying seemed to serve much less purpose, but at the same time, so much of this game felt nostalgic to me, having played Perfect World International back in 2009 for 2 whole years. This is an absolutely gorgeous game with some great quality combat. I don't believe it has much of a narrative, but let's be real here, neither do most MMOs. This ain't no Final Fantasy game. Alchemia Story is my favorite anime MMO on mobile devices currently. This is yet another hit title from Asubimo, who absolutely dominate the anime MMO market, much like Toram and rather much like the vast majority of JMMORPGs. Alchemia Story has well, a story, an actual fully functional narrative, and this is something that is so rare in MMOs, yet something that seems to be rather common in Japanese MMOs, PSO2, Final Fantasy XIV, the Asubimo MMOs. Unlike the majority of the MMOs included in this list though, Alchemia Story features an interesting instanced combat system. You can create your character and your waifu or your husbando. You move about a large world, and then when engaging enemies in combat, you're teleported to an instanced encounter where you take turns attacking enemies. This, coupled with the game's gorgeous open world and incredible looking aesthetic, make this game an absolute must-play for any anime fan. Sword Art Online Integral Factor, which I'm gonna go ahead here and refer to it as Integral Factor henceforth because the title is just too long otherwise, is a semi-faithful adaptation of the Sword Art Online anime series. I'm not really sure specifically how much of the novels this game adapts, but playing through the Aincrad arc was a surreal experience for me. From being trapped in the world to meeting characters from the anime series, it was an experience that you really don't get in other MMOs. And the characters are so accurate, from their personalities to their character models, their visual appearance. Add in the faster paced action combat and the gorgeous setting that perfectly depicts what the world should look like, and well, you got yourself a Sword Art game. Dawn of Isles is admittedly a very interesting title. It is a full MMO, yet at the same time, it's completely different to an MMO. You quest, you level, you explore islands, you cook food, you build, you harvest, and attempt to survive. It's I don't know, it's probably the most unique MMO that I've played on either PC or mobile devices, and often left me confused as to what I should even label it. It has an incredible character creator that allows you to perfectly craft your ideal avatar. It has a very high quality setting and has some fast-paced action combat. This is a unique MMO that you will not want to miss out the opportunity to try. Iruna Online is pretty much Toram Online, but a mobile exclusive version of it. It looks like Toram and it plays like Toram. In essence, if you like the theme, if you like the setting of Toram Online, but for whatever reason you do not want to play it, this is probably your best bet in providing you a similar experience while being a different game. There's really nothing else to say about it. I know some people are going to be upset by that comparison, but Avabel makes a lot of similar games. Dragon Raja, also interestingly enough, released onto PC recently, and after having been a mobile exclusive title for years, this left me a little bit confused. And despite it being heavily pay to win though, this game is an absolute blast to play. Its gameplay is top tier, its character models are even better than that. Seriously, seeing the outfits for your character, the control you have over creating them, the character animations, everything about this game, including its action combat, is high quality. Well, I mean, its narrative is... It is also pretty good, but I did find it to, at times, be beyond cheesy. Like, the kind of cheesy where you want to barf in your mouth a little every time a cutscene plays, which isn't necessarily bad, it's just interesting. Avabel Online is another MMO just like both Toram and Iruna. I feel like these three games are the most similar games of any genre I have seen. Well, almost as similar as Genshin and Breath of the Wild are. Much like the other two Avabel titles, Avabel Online is a cute anime MMO set in a large world. It has some decent combat, it has some decent customization options. It's a solid alternative to the two aforementioned titles. So if neither of those titles are doing it for you, then here you go. And finally, Noah's Heart. The reason this is last is not because it's the best or because it's the worst, rather because it is the only MMO that has not fully released yet. However, it has held a closed beta test, so we did manage to get footage for the game. And while it's still a little rough around the edges, this is touted as being not only the successor to Dragon Raja, but a step in the progression of the entire MMO genre, providing procedurally generated zones and environments, fully replicated seasons, a gorgeous graphical engine, a world, and action combat system to rival even Black Desert Online. And while it is still a work in progress, playing the beta test was a lot of fun. I do look forward to when we get to participate in the next one, or better yet, when the game launches, hopefully later this year. And whew, man, what a list of games that was. 15 entire mobile MMOs. Now, if you cannot find something to play after being presented with so many different diverse options, then I'm sorry to be the one to have to tell you this, but there's probably nothing out there that is going to satisfy you, to satiate that thirst, that hunger that you have. Except for, I don't know, maybe a non-MMO related game, which I'm going to have a list out for as well, that hopefully in the next week or two you can find by clicking this link, this video, right here.